Hello and welcome back. So here we will start where we left off. Here the we were discussing about the return on equity. So which is about 10%. Here the total equity is considered, which is the net profit available to the shareholders of this company itself. Now this return, actually the company, if you see in the balance sheet, the whole equity is 314,000, while the operating plant and machinery is only 191. So which means that out of 300, 190 is gone. So 100,000 is invested somewhere which is not in the operation of the company, which is actually, you can see from here, is being used either in the capital developments or in some of the investments in the subsidiaries in their joint ventures. Because this is a standalone balance sheet, you will not be able to actually see the income from those investments. So there is one more way to calculate it. There's, instead of net profit, what if we calculate based on the assets that are actually deployed in the business, so which will become it to 17%. So here it will be more comparable with the companies where the other the excess money, or there are no other investments involved into the business. But just for the conceptual thing, the return on equity is calculated by net profit divided by equity. Why you need to consider it variant, why you need to consider variations, because the equity is not fully invested into the business. There are some capital. Now there is another one which is called net equity plus liabilities, which is total assets. So here total assets are 190 plus the 493. So which is more higher. The reason being is because the company is taking loan and they are investing the money into their investment, they are putting money into their development. So what is the total overall return of because the money is going out of the company's shareholders as a total, how much is the company is earning? It's about earning about 8%, which is actually in truly is even lower than the rate of interest. So which is also lower than the rate of interest. However, we must be looking at the utilization of assets. Here, the utilization of all the assets is not actually producing any income in this particular statement, because a lot of investments is done in to their own subsidiary companies, which in the income or return from those companies is recorded in their individual financial statements and is not consolidated into this statement. So to effectively calculate the return on the assets actually employed in operations, what we have done is we have removed those assets from the calculations. So here is the revised rate of return, which is 14%, which is not bad. I'm not sure because it's not compared with the other industry, but it's better than the other two ratios. So these are the common interpretation problems with the financial statements, and some kind of raw lack of information or the incomplete information they give about the financial statements. Anyhow, looking at the other ratios now. In the profitability ratios, we have a GOP percentage, gross profit percentage, and we have another percentage which is called EBITDA percent, earning before interest, depreciation and taxes. So here you will see the gross profit is from the operations is 91,000. Now here is 91,000 because there were other incomes, sorry, there are other expenses which are not really now the gross profit. The other expenses are actually also the other selling expenses and administrative expenses. Now the net profit ratio, sorry, you cannot compare with only the net profit. So let's calculate the net profit ratio. Net profit ratio, which is which is nothing but just only the net profit divided by revenue from operations which is net profit is 33,000 divided by the revenue from operations, which is about, here you can see, is only about 11%, but earning before interest, depreciation and taxes is 20%. Now why is it higher? Is because of the depreciation. Now EBITDA is mostly used for comparing between two different companies, because as we learned earlier, the in depreciation, if the asset base is different from the companies, then their depreciation will be different. If the company has no finance, no debt, then it will be zero. For example, let's say there was no debt, no interest in these two conditions. So what would be the ratio? Now the ratio, you can calculate it like this. So let's look at this ratio. So now it becomes 16%, right? Which is more closer to the EBITDA. The reason simply it has increased from 11% to 16%, and if let's say the depreciation rate was more, let's say it was 15,000, there was a lot of investment, the company is not able to efficiently utilize the assets, so the ratio will go down. So it's not really a equitable comparison between the two different companies or two different years. That's why we look at EBITDA. So we take out the estimations to reduce the anomalies from estimations. Gross profit and EBITDA is pretty much the comparable things. The only thing is between two different companies, they may have different models of selling and distribution. So for example, in other expenses, which we learned earlier, is that it includes selling expenses, it includes distribution expenses, it includes maintenance expenses. For example, the companies are working in two different models, where they are this company is buying all the items. In this year, they were buying all items from outside, so there was no very less distribution expenses, no maintenance, no furniture, no plant, no nothing. So what would have happened? So this would have been zero. So let's add this just for the sake of manipulation. We add this 29,000 into this expense and add the depreciation as well. Sorry, we make the depreciation 0. So let's go back here. So what we do is we add these three numbers just for the fun. I will undo it later on, of course. So what was happening is this. So we take out this and then we take it out also. So there was no plant, no selling, distribution, no other thing. They just like a trading business, buy from somebody and sell to somebody else. So here you will see the gross profit percentage. What would happen to the gross profit percentage? The gross profit percentage will come up from 19% to 14% only. Here the net profit remains the same. It is not really different, but the gross profit percentage is going to be drastically low. Now if you don't know the operating model of the company, what you will think is, oh, this company is bad because it's earning very low interest, but the net profit is very high. Here gross profit is very high, but the net profit remains the same, almost the same. So that's why we need to understand more about the company's operating model and the depreciation and other things. These can make a lot of difference into the ratios. So the ratios give quite a number of analytics. However, the user must be careful in using those interpretations. So that was it. In the next video, sorry, not next video, my mistake. We can look at comparable balance sheet, comparable ratio of now this is a ratio analysis of Samsung and Apple. Here we have a ratio of from 2010 to 2017, different ratios of the company. Here you will see I have calculated the ratio, key ratios here. Return on assets. Now you see the return on assets are increasing from 12%, 9%, 13%, 14%, 10, 8 return on assets while into the of the company, while Apple has more. On an average, it's having between 9 to 10%. In some months, it's go up to 14%, which we are not very sure why it's going up and down, because it's because of the revenue, and the assets remain the same, right? Now, on an average, Apple has more, so means they are able to utilize their assets more than Samsung. Return on equity is 36%, Samsung is only 26%, 20%. So why is it higher? Why is it so high when there is not so much difference in the return on assets? Because Apple is leveraged. Here you will see the debt equity ratio. Let's look at the debt equity ratio. Debt equity ratio is 9%, while for Apple is 89%. Means a lot of money is invested through the borrowings. So Apple is not using this own money. So that makes a lot of difference in the return on equity. You can see here 20% versus 36%. The debt equity ratio is only 9% to 89%. So in this case, Apple is clearly using the debt to its leverage. Next, we can look at EBITDA, earning before interest taxation. Both the companies have almost the same. It's not really a lot of different if you compare 2017 and there. Net profit margin also is not significantly different. Asset turnover is a bit low in case of Apple, which is deteriorating here. Asset turnover means how many times is the ratio, or how many times is the revenue compared to the assets. Now the ratio is going down, means that the company's assets are increasing, however the sales is not increasing. So it means they are probably non-operating assets, or they are buying assets which are not directly related to the operations of the company. Debtors turnover means an average collection period. Let's say average collection period of Samsung is very high compared to Apple, which is maybe it means that Apple is more efficient in collecting its dues, or the model is that they are not selling anything on credit. So it can be different. As I said, the different models is different. Here the inventory holding period of Samsung is 50 days, while did I calculate it wrong? Yes, no, I didn't calculate it wrong. So inventory holding period of Apple is only 9 days. So means they are not producing too much, and all of their inventory is sold out very fast. While for Apple is pretty high. So is also it can be different from how they are selling the assets, how they are selling the models. So this is different. Both the companies are having similar products, but they are or their portfolio also can be different. Apple is mostly selling only the phones, as Samsung sells a lot of things. Current ratio here is Samsung has a better ratio compared to Apple. Quick ratio is also far much better. Then debt equity, they are not really utilizing the equity debt to their advantage. So this is how you compare between two different companies, and between a lot of between trends. So if you have any questions, if you have just let me know, just post into the comment box, and I will be happy to assist in details. In the next video, we will be looking about the cash flow. Thank you.